Hello everyone, and today we are gonna do some Paladin tanking in the lower levels. And as you can probably think, this is gonna be a short guide of how you can do it. It's actually quite easy here in the lower levels with and without heirlooms, because it can be a little tricky to do it. It's not tricky, but it's tricky when you don't have set your things right. And it's getting a little tricky when you haven't done. When, but else, when you have set your things right and your healer can follow, then it's gonna be then it's easy. With heirlooms, you have a bit of advantage over non-heirlooms because you have a little bit more healing, no, not healing but health, as when you don't have heirlooms and you have lesser health to do bigger pulls, but also your damage would be a little less, but still high enough to do this. And here I'm gonna put down a consecration as I'm a paladin tank, and paladin tanks is in the low levels have very much AoE damage to them. And here so you can see now there's two extra mobs here. I'm gonna pull them so the rest of the group doesn't pull them. And I'm keeping a watch over my holy power because I might need them for my holy of glory, because I haven't gotten the paladin's usage of the spending ability of your tank, which first will come when you're at level 40, and that is Shield of Righteousness. And this is an awesome ability to use because when you stack, you can make your holy of Word of Glory or Bastion of Eternal Flame, increase their healing ability, which is a good thing when you're using it. Mostly because as a tank, Paladin Prot tank, you might wanna take the Eternal Flame, as when you get to the raids of Siege of Orkney, when you have decent gear, because then it would be more efficient to use it. But in the lower levels, the Sacred Shield would be best in the lower levels because you have an shielding ability. Because in lower levels the internal flame, it isn't that great for using. It is okay, but it's not the best. So it would be best to take the shield of the sacred shield. But for me, when I come to the level 45, I would take the internal flame, just because I don't wanna get the sacred seal, because I don't wanna spend the, I can't remember what it's called, but I don't wanna spend and vanish powder to get rid of it right now, because the internal flame heals you over time, which is good here, for me at least, because I don't wanna get an shield. It will be good for a time, but then you have to reactivate it as it as you would with internal flame, but you can, the internal flame would give more in the end. And I wanna save it up, learn to, I would like to learn it so to when I get the some more decent gear, the LFR gear in Siege of Orgrimmar, so I have it. And for the time being, I want to learn it and how to use it properly instead of then then have the sacred shield and learn that, and then I get the gear and then switch over to internal flame and then start using it and then failing a lot. So I would rather take that now and learn it. So as you can see, it's quite easy to tank this even with a hunter pet, and that is how you should use the hunter pet without, because as a tank there is nothing more ignoring than a hunter using a pet with Groudon. There's nothing more ignoring for a tank, because then you constantly have to turn off the pet. And for the most time, for me, if I have a hunter that have a pet that turns off me, I would just let his pet die and then taunt, because I want to teach the hunter a lesson, because it's best for a tank to let him do his work as a tank, to have the aggro instead of the pet, because a tank can survive longer than a pet. And never let the mobs stand behind you, because then they got free reign upon you, and you can not dodge or parry or block when the enemy is behind you. The only the only thing that you need to be aware of is don't let the ants be behind you. Oh, yes, they can be behind you, but only if you're gonna pull more. And when you are gonna pull more here in the lower levels, be in mind to wait up for your healer and not pull too much unless you are certain of he's around or nearby, so you don't die, because there's nothing worse than pulling and dying than, and nothing worse than be out of range of your healer and die because you didn't wait for your healer. Because a tank and a healer can most of the time survive this group without the DPS, and because most of the DPS would automatically follow So if they get too far away, the tank and healer could easily hold their ground until the DPSs come. So don't run too far away from your healer. Even though that you know that you can hold your own, but you shouldn't go too far ahead without having the healer as a backup. And the and that's the most thing. So let's recap. If you wanna pull big, try to ask first if the healer wants you to pull big. Don't listen to what the DPS says. If you want to pull if the DPS wants you to pull more, don't listen to them. First of all, listen to yourself. If you thinking that you can pull more, and try to pull more and see if the healer survive, if the group survive, because and pull a little bit more. Let's say this group here. This is a good pull. If you think you can pull more, then just pull one group more and see if you survive. If you survive, then you can try to pull a third one, and so on. But don't be overcautious. Don't be too foolish and pull like 6 at groups after you have pulled the first one, and then pull 6 more. Unless you know for certain that the healer and yourself can survive, that you can survive and the healer can heal it. Because there's nothing worse of dying when you are leveling. Because you want to live, you kind of want to have fun, but you also want to level a little bit quick in this. You want to, you don't want to be too slow of leveling, because then you kind of go nowhere. So don't be too overconfident when you're tanking. That's the most that's the best lesson to be learned. That don't be too foolish, and don't be too confident of pulling a lot of ads and then you die, and then the rest of the group have to clean up because you was too confident of tanking. And there's and there's actually not much difference between a tank with heirlooms and a tank without heirlooms. The only difference is that the one with no heirlooms have to be more cautious, because he 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 doesn't have that much health, and the mobs is more likely to go off you, because some of the group members have heirlooms and have better DPS. So be more cautious when you have no heirlooms, and be cautious of your surroundings, and don't stand in stuff that you shouldn't stand in, like fire and stuff like that. So that was it for this small guide. I will make one more to when I get some gear as a tank on a level 90 Paladin. So see you next time. have fun.